Have you ever wondered what secrets might be hiding behind the soft glow of an idol's livestream? What would you do if, in the middle of an ordinary evening, your world-famous bias pressed the wrong button and suddenly, a voice you never expected to hear echoed into your headphones? Tonight, millions of fans are reeling from precisely that moment, an accident so surreal that it feels like a script no one would have dared to write. Was it truly a mistake? Or did Kim Taehyung, known across continents as BTS's V, just unlock a door to a hidden chapter of his life, one the public was never meant to glimpse? As speculation ignites every corner of social media, a single question haunts the fandom. Why did he still have that voice note? It began as an unremarkable broadcast. Taehyung, newly returned to the public eye after months of quiet reflection, appeared in a dimly lit room. His face was serene, his voice calm as he greeted ARMY with that tender familiarity that never fails to melt even the most stoic hearts. For nearly 15 minutes, he read comments in real time, offered small updates about his day, and strummed a few chords on his guitar. The atmosphere felt gentle, safe, like an intimate conversation between old friends. But that illusion shattered the moment Taehyung lifted his phone, brows furrowing slightly as he searched for a song to play. Instead of music, the speakers crackled with a raw, unmistakable sound, a voice so familiar that fans froze in shock. 3 seconds. That was all it took. 3 seconds in which Jungkook's voice, clear, unaccompanied, achingly vulnerable, floated into the silence. The youngest member of BTS, singing a line in perfect a cappella, the lyrics barely audible but the tones so warm, so startlingly personal, that thousands of viewers forgot how to breathe. Then, in a blur of motion, Taehyung's expression changed. His eyes widened, his lips parted as if he might curse or apologize, and his thumbs stabbed frantically at the screen. The voice vanished. The broadcast cut to static. And in that abrupt darkness, a single thought pulsed in every heart. Why was he listening to Jungkook's voice note? Now, in the hours that followed, confusion gave way to hysteria. Fans replayed the fragment over and over, analyzing the resonance of Jungkook's tone, the tentative softness that suggested it wasn't a demo for public release, but something far more private, a recording sent from one friend to another. Was it an unreleased track, a secret project that never reached the light of day? Or was it, as some speculated in frantic weverse threads, a voice message shared late at night between two men whose bond has always defied easy definition? Speculation mutated into obsession at a speed that defied logic. Within an hour, hashtags trended worldwide. Hashtag Taehyung voice note. Hashtag Jungkook singing. Hashtag why did he save it? Fans demanded clarity, their curiosity crackling with equal parts excitement and apprehension. What did it mean that Taehyung still had this voice note months, perhaps even years, after it was recorded? What kind of relationship would inspire a man to keep a fragment of another's voice tucked safely in his phone? And why? In the instant he realized what had happened, did Taehyung look not merely surprised but stricken, as if he'd just betrayed something sacred? As night fell and no statement emerged, the theories grew bolder. Some insisted the voice note was a leftover from their studio days, a relic of creative collaboration. Others believed it was evidence of a deeper, more complex bond that neither man had ever spoken about publicly. But behind every theory pulsed a deeper, more intimate question. What if it was something more? The history between Taehyung and Jungkook has always been the stuff of legend. Two young men who met as teenagers and became, in the eyes of millions, closer than brothers. Over the years, they have shared countless moments that fans cherish. Secret smiles on stage, long glances across crowded rooms, quiet support during the hardest seasons of their careers. But the line between friendship and something more has often blurred in the collective imagination. And now, with just 3 seconds of unguarded audio, the questions no one dared to ask out loud have erupted into the open. Why did Taehyung react as though he had just been exposed? Why did he end the broadcast without explanation, leaving the world to marinate in its own assumptions? If this was simply a demo, why didn't he say so? And if it wasn't, what was it? By dawn, the incident had become an international headline. Major entertainment outlets scrambled to publish articles with provocative titles. Taehyung's accidental reveal. What was Jungkook's voice note really about? A secret serenade or simple studio clip? 3 seconds that shook the fandom. News anchors recounted the moment with breathless gravity, replaying the clip on loop until the sound itself felt like a haunting. And with every replay, the urgency of the question deepened. Was this the first and only time the world would hear Jungkook sing to Taehyung without an audience? Some fans responded with fierce protectiveness, insisting that any analysis was an unforgivable invasion of privacy. Others argued that Taehyung and Jungkook, by virtue of their fame, should expect every slip to be scrutinized. But regardless of where one stood, no one could deny the electric charge of the moment. The sense that, however briefly, the mask had slipped and something unfiltered had slipped out. Industry insiders whispered to reporters that the company was considering legal action against accounts that had uploaded the voice note in full. An anonymous staff member hinted that Taehyung was devastated by the leak, reportedly telling colleagues he never meant for anyone to hear that. But if he never meant it to be heard, why did he keep it? What does it mean for two men to share a recording like that, private, raw, a single voice echoing in the dark? Longtime observers of BTS were quick to remind the public that both Taehyung and Jungkook have always been drawn to music as a form of confession. For them, melodies are diaries, places to store truths too heavy to say aloud. Could this have been such a truth? A quiet moment sent across the ether, intended to soothe or confess or simply remind. And if it was, what right did the world have to dissect it? Even as the questions multiplied, neither man appeared online to offer clarity. Taehyung's weverse account remained silent. Jungkook, who had posted regularly in the days before, vanished without a trace. Some saw this as confirmation that something profound had been exposed. Others argued that the silence was simply the consequence of exhaustion, a desire to retreat from the glare of public scrutiny. But the absence felt like an answer all its own, one that only deepened the ache in the fandom's chest. And perhaps that is why the clip, those 3 seconds, have become an obsession rather than a curiosity. Because they were imperfect. Because they were unscripted. Because in a world where every moment is rehearsed and polished and made safe for consumption, here was something real, fragile, and utterly human. The sound of one voice singing into another's darkness. A confession or a comfort or simply a reminder. I am here. As the days passed, fan communities split into factions. Some demanded apologies for what they called emotional manipulation, convinced the incident was a publicity stunt designed to stoke speculation before a new project. Others insisted this was precisely why idols so often retreat behind layers of rehearsed perfection, because the world cannot be trusted to hold their humanity with tenderness. And still others simply grieved, not for any scandal but for the realization that they may never know what the recording truly meant. But if you listen closely, if you closed your eyes and ignored the noise of commentary and controversy, you could still hear it. That singular, beautiful note. The quiet courage of a voice unaccompanied by any instrument. The way it trembled on the edge of something too intimate to name. And you had to wonder, what was Jungkook feeling when he recorded it? Who was he singing for? And why did Taehyung feel compelled to keep that fragment safe, long after any practical need had passed? Perhaps the real question is simpler still. Is there any corner of a person's heart the world should not try to own? No official statement has come. No apology has been offered. No explanation has been given. And maybe that is the only answer Taehyung and Jungkook will ever offer. Silence can be its own kind of boundary, a final, unspoken plea to let the moment fade into memory rather than weaponize it into legend. But for now, as fans replay that voice note in countless edits and compilations, the mystery remains. Was it merely a recording? A secret comfort? A relic of something lost? Or was it proof that, beneath all the glamour and mythology, these men are simply human, capable of longing, attachment, and mistakes? Stay with us. Because as long as the question remains unanswered, this story will keep growing, fueled by curiosity, hope, and the unshakable desire to believe that sometimes, Even the brightest stars need someone else's voice to keep them from disappearing in the dark.